our votes, our time, because we are Georgia. Say it with, we are Georgia.
There was huge excitement among the Democrats in Georgia when Stacey Abrams ran for governor in November. She was the first black woman candidate to stand in a race for governor from either of the major parties in the entire history of the United States.
If you want a politically incorrect conservative, that's me.
But during the high-profile race, she alleged that her opponent, Brian Kemp, was guilty of voter suppression, an allegation Congress is now investigating.
This is someone who takes credit for more people registering to vote, despite the fact that he purges voters at a regular interval.
She was narrowly defeated and launched a legal challenge to the way the state elections are run. Abrams grew up in Mississippi and later moved to Georgia. No stranger to firsts, she was the first African-American woman ever to deliver the State of the Union response when she answered President Trump.
Even as I am very disappointed by the president's approach to our problems, I still don't want him to fail.
I sat down with Stacey Abrams and began by asking her about voter suppression. Without voter suppression, you would have probably won.
I think it is a very high likelihood, yes.
Could you explain to us here in Britain what voter suppression is?
So voter suppression is a system of laws that restrict access to the vote and the votes being counted. I put it into 3 buckets. The first is registration access. There are rules in the state of Georgia that have limited who has the ability to register. They are legally eligible, but because of the Secretary of State, there were conditions put on their ability to register, namely a matching of bureaucratic names. So if your last name has a hyphen in it, if that hyphen does not show up in another database, it could deny you the right to vote in the state of Georgia. It has been proven to be racially discriminatory. In the last election cycle, 53,000 registrations were held, and of those, 90% belong to people of color, 70% belong to African Americans. That's one part. Second part is that he purged more than 1.5 million voters from the rolls, including hundreds of thousands right before he stood for election for governor. Your second issue is ballot access. The ability in the United States to vote early comes about because you can go to your polling place before the election day, or you can apply for an absentee ballot. Under the regime run by Secretary of State Kemp, a number of people who applied for absentee ballots never received them.
So you're telling us that the man who had within his power
Yes.
the ability to suppress the vote, as you put it,
Was my opponent.
was your opponent?
Yes. And so, writ large, each of those individual pieces is problematic. The last big piece was that we had eligible voters who cast their ballots through absentee ballots. Those ballots were not counted, and that happened to thousands of voters, sufficient, we believe, to demonstrate that we were robbed of an election.
But you say you are keeping an open mind about a bigger run than Georgia.
Yes.
And that would be either the Senate or...
Well, a different run. I wouldn't say that the Senate is a bigger run than governor. I think it's a different path to the same issue.
Yeah.
The White House, that's kind of the big kahuna of the issues. That is the high water mark. But in my mind, it's a question of which platform is the most appropriate one for me to use to push the issues and policies that I believe in.
Where did your strength come from in all this? I mean, I'm very intrigued. I am the son of a cleric. You are the daughter of not only a mother who's a cleric and a father who's a cleric.
Absolutely.
Is that part of it?
That's part of it. And
does religion drive you?
Religion, but also my parents were very active in the civil rights movement in Mississippi as teenagers, and they took very seriously the right to vote. My father went to jail at the age of 16 helping register others to vote. They taught me to believe that you fight for the rights that you are owed and that you fight for the rights of others.
How do you look back on Barack Obama's presidency?
I think he was the best president we have had in the 21st century, one of the best presidents we've ever had.
And what effect do you think Trump's politics have had on politics in America?
I think he has been corrosive. I think he has demonstrated a xenophobia and a racism and a sexism that is not helpful. I believe, though, that one person cannot diminish who we are as Americans, and while I vehemently disagree with his policy and his tactics, I recognize that he currently holds the office. My responsibility as an American is to work hard to push forward our American ideals. And as I said in my State of the Union rebuttal, I want him to be successful. I do not want him to fail. But I think he has demonstrated a lack of consonance with the values that I hold to be true. And I think that is something I am obligated as an American to call out.
Would you be prepared to run, for example, with Bernie Sanders?
In what way?
Well, vice presidential candidate. He's declared himself for the presidency.
And I'm thinking about it, so there you go. Here's my point. I believe that our first responsibility is to identify through our primary system the most viable candidate who can speak to the broadest set of needs. And once that has occurred, if I am a part of that conversation, fantastic. If I'm not, I would certainly be open to having a conversation about what comes next. But I don't want to anticipate who the candidate will be.
Now, I think this is your first ever visit to England.
It is.
There's also another interesting development here, and that is that an African American has married into the royal family. Some of the more right of centre media have been critical and have called her difficult and that sort of thing. And one wonders whether race may be in play there.
I think smart, strong women are always considered difficult. I think race can be a modifier that allows people to try to hide their concerns and to hide their racism. Meghan Markle is an extraordinary woman. I, like most of America, woke up early to watch the ceremony, but more than that, I've watched her navigate spaces that are often closed and to have and force conversations that are typically not held, and to do so with grace and with aplomb and with a kindness that I think would do credit to anyone, and I think England is lucky to have her.